There exist a number of vicious money traps that keep people stuck. The first of which is the credit card trap. When the credit card gets swiped, it doesn't feel like spending money, and that's the problem. A quick tap and we move on without the physical loss of something leaving our hands. So $20 here, $40 there, it barely registers. Our brains treat electronic, digital, or card spending completely differently from cash. When you pay with cash, there's a mental friction you feel that can lead to healthy hesitation. But with a card, that friction disappears. Not necessarily due to irresponsibility, but because of a psychological flaw in humans that is a perfect fit for exploitation by the credit card system. Then what happens is we rapidly begin spending more than we think we are, and maybe more than we actually have. So we carry a balance. Now, not only are we overspending, but on top of that, we're paying interest on money we didn't have any business spending to begin with. But the solution is not to stop using cards. Credit cards should be free money and rewards if you don't get sucked into the trap. So it's silly to want to avoid them entirely. Create a basic budget, monitor your balance, and treat every swipe like it's coming out of your checking account, because it will. And if you want to get better at spotting these before they cost you, that's exactly what this channel is about. So if you want to help me hit 1,000 subscribers, I would appreciate it. The second trap is the subscription trap. Subscriptions are like holes in your bank account that literally leak money. A $19.99 streaming service, a $9.99 app you barely use, or a free trial you forgot to cancel. Individually, they feel too small to matter, so you don't think twice about it. But subscriptions often conceal themselves by being spread throughout the month rather than hitting all at once. One charge today, another next week, and another at the end of the month. So it's much more palatable, because 20 withdrawals of $10 for most people doesn't hit as hard as $200 one time. Basically, part of the magic of subscription-based business models is that companies make money from you either not noticing these charges or just getting used to them over time. But especially in today's day and age, when you need 50 different streaming services to watch all of the content you want to watch, people are easily spending $200, $300, or even more on subscriptions every single month. That's at least a couple $1,000s a year, when chances are 90% of your usage is concentrated on just a few of them, and a handful might have been forgotten about entirely. The fix is simple, but most people never audit their bank account. Once a month, go through your bank statement line by line, and if you wouldn't sign up for it again today, cancel it. When you sign up for a free trial that's going to charge you in 7 days, cancel the free trial as soon as it begins so you don't forget. Any given subscription can be super valuable, but only if you're actually taking advantage of it. Number 3 is the financing trap. You're buying a payment. The total price doesn't matter anymore. All that matters to you is the monthly number. $500 a month, $700 a month. I can afford that. So you're convinced you're staying within your limits. But financing changes how you think, because it shifts your focus from total cost to monthly capability. And once that happens, prices balloon. The $30,000 car is now going to end up being $40,000 in 4 years. But because the monthly payment still fits within your budget without making you go hungry, no problem. And the longer the loan, the easier it feels and the more of a trap financing becomes, paying thousands extra to spread out the pain. And I haven't even mentioned the biggest cost of financing yet, because it's not even the payment or the interest itself. The biggest cost will be discussed in one of the upcoming traps. So to escape this trap or avoid falling into it in the first place, forget about whether you can make the monthly payment. Ask yourself, what is the total cost, interest included, and even if I had that amount of cash, would I feel totally comfortable paying that up front? If the answer is no, that means that monthly payment is going to make it 10 times harder for you to get ahead. Number 4 is the lifestyle inflation trap. The more money you make, the more money you spend. You finally got a pay raise, so take a deep breath. Money is a worry no longer. Until all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, you need a nicer apartment, European car, daily Uber Eats, and designer clothes. Technically, you can afford it now, but typically, people's lifestyles adjust permanently. Once you've had a taste of the lush life, that next level of consumerism, it's very difficult to voluntarily take a step back down the ladder. So this increase in spending becomes your new baseline. And soon thereafter, these new upgrades will not only feel normal, but unsatisfying. So you'll yearn for the next best thing. And the next time even more money comes in, you upgrade again and again and again. So even as your income grows, your financial position stays exactly the same, living paycheck to paycheck just on a higher level. Making 50K and saving nothing turns into making 100K and still saving nothing. So the fix is to simply be aware of this mechanism and break the pattern before it begins. It's a lot harder to fall into a trap when you see it clearly, because now you'd have to consciously choose to walk into it. When your income increases, decide in advance where it goes. Save it, invest it, and upgrade your future before you upgrade your lifestyle, unless you can honestly look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that it's a worthy upgrade. Number 5, opportunity cost blindness. This is the cost I was referring to when I was talking about the car payment. Every dollar you spend has a hidden future you'll never see. You spend $100. Simple, done, over. Actually, that's wrong. It will continue costing you for years to come, because money's not static. It has the ability to grow. So when you spend $100, you're spending the $100 plus what that $100 could have become. $100 invested, say, into a basic stock market index fund will multiply completely passively. So every time you splurge instead of invest, you're choosing the present value over the future. That's why small decisions matter more than they seem, because they compound. One $100 decision doesn't change your life, but hundreds of them, that can be the difference between building wealth and wondering where all of it went. More on compounding later. So start seeing money in 2 different timelines. Before you spend, especially on large purchases of hundreds or thousands of dollars, ask yourself, what would this be worth in the future? And I'll talk about how to get that answer in the next trap. But don't guilt yourself out of ever spending money. Leisure, joy, health, they're all necessities, but make sure it's a conscious trade. Once you can see what you're giving up, you'll spend more efficiently. Number 6, I'll start later. The number one mistake people make with investing is waiting. I'll start investing when I make more, when things settle down, when I feel ready. So you delay it a year, maybe 2, maybe 20. It doesn't seem urgent, especially because the early portion of a compounding interest graph is the flattest portion. But building wealth isn't about timing the market, it's about time in the market. And time is the one thing you can't get back. Someone who invests small amounts early will almost always beat someone who invests large amounts later, purely because compounding is just that powerful, and their money had more time to grow. When you put off investing for, say, an entire year, you don't miss out on the returns you would have gotten in the first year. You miss out on the returns you would have gotten with an additional year on the back end. To put that in perspective, if you invest $1,000 today into an S&P 500 index fund, for example, and let it grow untouched for 40 years, earning an 8% annual return, that same $1,000 will have blossomed into $21,724.54. However, if you had delayed your investment for even 1 year, after 39 years, that $1,000 would only be $20,115.30. In year 1 of each scenario, you make $80. In year 40, you make over $2,600. So every year you wait, you're shrinking what's possible. Years of compounding you can never recover. So start before you feel ready. Pay yourself before anything else, and if you can't afford to do that, put forward your absolute best effort to increase your earnings as soon as possible. That can literally be the difference between becoming a millionaire and being incredibly stressed about retirement once you hit your 40s. And it doesn't have to be big to start, just give your money time. The more it has, the less you have to rely on everything else going right. Number 7, the one big break. The illusion is that one big win will fix everything. The right stock, the right crypto, even the Powerball. The miraculous bet at the right time that will change your life. But that's not how wealth is built. In fact, that's how it's lost. Most of the time, money will be burnt chasing outcomes that won't happen. Or even worse, you get one win early that convinces you this is the way. So you double down and take bigger risks chasing the next one. But over time, both your money and your discipline erode, because swinging for home runs over and over doesn't build the habits required to actually keep wealth. So instead, focus on consistent, repeatable decisions that will feed you for decades. Number 8, buying cheap versus expensive. Buying cheap feels like a genius move until you have to buy it again. You paid half the price for a product that serves the same exact purpose, so why spend more if you don't have to? Unfortunately, you probably will have to. Cheap doesn't mean good value. Oftentimes, cheap is another word for temporary, shorter lifespan, and worse performance. If the cheap item doesn't break first, you'll probably get fed up with how poor of a job it does and end up investing in the actual quality option that you should have bought to begin with. Now you've bought twice. A cheap mattress that you can't fall asleep on, so you need a new one. A $10 pan that gets warped after a month and needs to be replaced with some American stainless steel. So start asking what lasts and think in terms of cost per use. For things you use often, buy quality once. Number 9, keeping up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses is the cousin of lifestyle creep, but there's a key difference. Lifestyle creep is income driven, while keeping up with the Joneses is socially driven. No one's actively peer pressuring you, but you see what other people have: cars, houses, vacations. And naturally, not only do you want it for yourself, but it can also become a quiet competition where you don't want your neighbors, friends, or even family to feel like they are doing better than you are. The problem, well, one of many problems, is you're comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. You're not seeing that person's debt, what their bank account actually looks like, or their stress. Chances are they've fallen into one or more of the traps on this list, but all that's visible to you is the veil of success. You subconsciously treat their lifestyle as proof that it's affordable, buying things you didn't even want for reasons you don't even value. And the truth is, there's always going to be someone around you with more of something. Like lifestyle creep, the goalpost keeps moving. So define your own version of enough, what you actually want your life to look like, and what's important to you. When you see someone with a $75,000 car, remind yourself that staying below your means is how you make huge financial strides. Underneath the hood, you may be doing a lot better than they are. What looks impressive on the outside isn't always the truth. The next trap is the default life. The life that many people drift into. Go to school, get a job with a salary because that's just what you do. And by no means is that a bad thing at all. But many people never stop and ask themselves, is this actually leading to where I want to go? So your financial life gets built by default and not by your own design. Years go by without much changing, but the worst cost of this, again, is an opportunity cost of the achievement and even fulfillment you could be experiencing in a different line of work better suited to your strengths. As Mr. Wonderful says, a salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. If you've caught yourself falling into one of these traps, let me know. I'm curious to see which one hits the most.